Let's talk to our friends, Sean and Kelly Malone. How are you guys?
Good. How you doing,
Great,
Ron?
great. Thank you.
So I went to Paso. You guys came here from Temecula. So which wine do we like best?
Paso.
Okay. I got to go to Napa. I'm
Not so much.
I'm
Not a Napa fan.
Me neither. Okay. So we'll stick with our friends over. I'm going to actually write a book about our journey to Paso. So we're going to have some fun with that one. But what's happening in real estate?
All good things. We have an upcoming event on April 26th at the Board of Realtors in Murrieta, where we are going to expose the new agents or newer agents that have been in the business less than, I'd say, 15 years to REO, HUD, and short sales. There seems to be a lack of information out there, and because they are such a unique type of transaction, we're providing 3 hours of expertise panelists to answer every question and provide some exposure and information that's going to be very helpful, especially to brand new agents.
So it's for agents only.
Well, anybody that
Industry.
wants to learn. It's the industry. Yes.
Okay.
But our focus was to the newer agents, because as I'm training new agents and they don't understand the acronyms even. What is a HUD home? What does HUD mean? What does REO mean? Short sale. They don't understand what a short sale is. So
it's not for short people.
It's not for short people, and it doesn't mean it's a short transaction. It's exactly the opposite of that.
So it's for tall people and it's a long transaction.
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
Okay. So do you think there's going to be a lot of these properties coming available?
There's more and more. I'm not going to say a lot, because during 2008, 2009, 2010, I'm selling average 300 a year.
Wow.
And so
I guess you got a little experience in it.
A little bit of experience in that. And so, no, I'm not saying anything. We're not seeing numbers like that at all. But I am being, twice, 3 times a week contacted to do broker price opinion. So that is an indicator. And also,
so what is a broker price opinion, and who do you do that for?
So asset management companies and banks require a broker price opinion for various reasons. One is the property is in foreclosure. They're trying to get an idea what the value is on the property without having a formal appraisal done. And for a short sale, we're generally a second and third opinion, just to make sure that the agent listing the home is being above board with what they listed the property at. And they're requesting that the bank accept less than what the property is what's owed on the property. So, gets a little bit who decided what that property is worth at that time they listed it.
And trust me, having done a little bit for her, BPOs are not easy. You are constantly at the next phase going, wait, what do I do here? What do I fill out for this? Where do I get that information? So it's stuff that new people, just to add to their book of knowledge, would really, really get good knowledge from.
So we might have jumped the game a little bit here, Kelly. So we're gonna have to go back and start with, what is a HUD home?
A HUD home is simply an FHA loan that has gone into foreclosure. So at that point, Housing of Urban Development, a HUD, they take the home. They are the ones responsible for disposing of that non-performing asset.
Okay, so it's basically on the government's books.
Correct.
And the government's really going to try and maximize value?
Well, surprisingly, yes, actually.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe there is some. We finally found the thing the government's doing prudently.
Well, HUD has been around for a long time.
Right.
Yeah.
A long time. So.
Okay.
In fact, Cheney is the one that made his name from that. He ran that.
It wasn't from shooting his friends or anything
No. He did a great job of organizing and running HUD in the 80s. So
okay.
HUD's been around, and it is something that the government doesn't want to keep long-term in their books. This is not Blackstone. This isn't about funding something to buy brand new homes or existing homes. It's something, get it in, get it out.
And it's only FHA loans that go there, or
Correct.
does Fannie and Freddie go there too?
No, just
Okay.
FHA, only FHA loans.
Okay, and who gets the VA and the USDAs when those come back?
The VA are the VA.
Oh, okay.
It's the VA.
They keep their own. Okay, okay. I'm just curious as to, so will they end up flooding, if they have a lot of homes in an area? Will they flood a market, and cause a price reductions, or do they try and let them trickle a little bit?
So so from my experience, and I was a HUD listing broker for years, as they come on, there's nothing that they're holding back per se.
Okay.
It's as they come on, and look, they're priced pretty much comparable to most other homes for sale. They might be a little bit under, but you're looking at um, a fairly easy transaction. You know, HUD is not going to make any repairs to that property.
Okay.
What you
Yeah,
see is what
as
you
is.
get. And it's got to be a loanable property. You know, obviously a FHA loan would be ideal.
Sure.
But yeah, it's there. I don't think they do. There's any concentration on waiting or holding or any of those things. It's get it off the books as soon as possible. They don't drastically reduce. They're not going to hurt the industry by dropping these prices and making matters worse.
So why would I want to buy one? One of the questions that comes to my mind is if I'm not getting the representations of the property and I'm buying it as is,
The disclosures.
So
right now the inventory is low.
Okay.
So one of your choices may only be a HUD home.
Okay.
And because HUD homes are foreclosures that were FHA loans, and in my area, in our Riverside, San Bernardino County, we had a lot of FHA product.
Sure.
So we are going to start seeing more and more of those of the HUD homes coming on. So it may not be a choice that you have. You have 5 homes and one of them is a HUD home.
Do you know? Will a consumer know that going in, or do they just see there's 5 homes?
If the agent educates the consumer, and that's part of why we're putting this event on, we want to make sure the agents are educated as far as what a HUD home is.
Okay.
First of all, and then once you get into escrow, what you can expect for a deposit, for disclosures or the lack of disclosures, what HUD is willing to do or what they have done to take care of the property, just health and safety issues. But again, what you see is what you get. So it's really a buyer beware product.
Okay.
At the end of the day.
Can I send in a home inspector before we consummate a transaction?
Yes, you can. And
Okay.
then the agent would coordinate with HUD to have the utilities turned on for that event. Yes.
Okay, but they're not doing that ahead of time.
Well, they do it once the offer is accepted.
Okay, once it's so that just gives you an opportunity then if it's not what you want, being that there's no disclosures.
Correct.
Or minimal disclosures.
Minimal, yes. Since HUD has never lived in the home, you're not going to get any disclosures
Sure.
as far as what they know is wrong with the property. They do an inspection of their own, basically to determine any health and safety type of issues that they would take care of.
Which basically has to be for any kind of an FHA loan product.
Correct.
Right. They're not going to allow somebody to go in and buy a property that's got peeling paint. It's one of the big ones, right? So
yeah.
can't do that.
Peeling paint. Oh,
So-
yeah, we have a story about that.
Oh, my.
But also, with HUD, there's a bidding date.
Okay.
So, it's given to the agent. It's 2 weeks ahead of time typically, and then there's a bid date. And so through an agent, you would make a bid online, and by that date, by the next day, generally, if your offer was accepted.
That quick.
Yeah, unless they were not happy with any of the offers, and then it goes to a daily bid. Every 24 hours, they're opening new offers.
Interesting. So you got to know what you're doing.
Kind of, yes.
Surprise, surprise. That's a new thought in this world. Being that we've got Kelle and Sean Malone with us here today, I just threw in there Temecula, California, and it looks like it's heating up out there. Not just the weather. Is it
Yeah.
true, or you guys are on the street? I'm just looking at stats.
Okay, both.
Okay.
So the
Okay, now we got an attorney here.
well,
Attorney Kelle.
For our
the-
escrows, we've gone up almost triple. I mean, we just hired a new lady.
Are you talking about
For-
the number of escrows
Yeah,
or the
yeah.
values?
Escrows, number of escrows.
quantity of escrows
Quantities went
through
up like
Celebration
3 times
Escrow,
as
our
much.
Nice.
escrow
So-
company. Our agents the productivity has picked up a lot, but the number that's important there that you're looking at on the Altos report is the amount of properties that are relisted. See that 5%?
5%.
Yeah.
If you're an agent and you worked expired listings in the past, you're done.
You're out of business.
It dried up.
You're out of business.
Yeah, with 500
So-
other agents.
So what we are saying is there's an equilibrium that has been struck. The listings coming on are generally from the people who have to sell. The
60s.
they have to sell because of divorce, death, distress, debt, diamonds,
5Ds,
diapers, dementia.
60s.
Okay, the D's
Yeah.
are bad.
I have 6 of them is what I
So the
Diplomas,
people,
diamonds,
because why would
diapers.
you
Right?
exactly? what? So you're going to sell soon. So why would you go from a 2.75 interest rate to a 6.5% interest rate, right?
Sure.
Unless you have to.
Catalyst.
So the people right now that are what we're seeing, those numbers of the properties of going into escrow are the people that are actually having to sell right now because they not because they want to pay an additional this crazy interest rate and move, but it's because they're forced to. So
Wait, Kelly, you've been around long enough.
just
I
saying.
hate to. I don't want to put it that way. I don't want to get smacked here. But crazy interest rates. You've seen these interest rates before.
Yeah, I've seen. I bought my first house at 10.5, but okay,
13.
relative.
18. Like I'm the winner.
Okay,
You
rel-
win.
1983, 84. or something
Okay,
like that.
yeah.
15%?
in
I was at 13,
80s, 87. But it's a little different when the house cost is $50,000.
Yeah,
It's all
200,000,
relative.
right.
It's relative.
We might have been making a little less.
People
then,
forget
too.
that part.
Right.
It's all relative
Right.
part. Yeah. So there's just enough buyers who have, probably lost out on offers previously, got tired of bidding wars and such. There's just enough buyers out there to suck up the little inventory that there is on a consistent basis. So the inventory is not like drastically going up. It's ticking right around the last 2
Look at
months.
the bright side, Kelly. So I'm looking here, Temecula, 108 single-family homes for sale.
In all of Temecula.
And all of Temecula.
All
of
of
Now
Temecula.
look at 92807.
Okay, what about
17.
Oh, wow.
92807? Yeah.
Yeah.
17
Well,
homes.
Ron,
Down from 21. So we're down 20%.
I was
Yeah.
showing property in Pacific Beach, Mission Beach, and what's right there? It was several weeks ago. And I literally had to check myself. I had my assistant sitting next to me and I said, wait, is this right? I didn't put any data in other than what's active for sale in Pacific Beach. There were 4 homes in all of Pacific Beach
Wow.
active
Yeah.
for sale. In Mission Beach, there was 1.
Holy cow.
And in Point Loma, there were 0 active listings on the market. This was about 7 weeks ago.
7 weeks ago.
I was on the MLS and I asked my assistant, look at this, something's wrong. I did something wrong. I must be going crazy.
Yeah.
And she checked it and she goes, no, I mean, if they want to live in Chula Vista, sure. There's
Yeah, that
there's 60
beautiful
homes for
downtown
sale.
Chula
Right.
Vista.
And this
But
is all that stuff.
In these 3 areas, I put no cap for a price. I put no minimum square footage, nothing. There was nothing.
Nothing to
It's
buy.
the
it
first
goes
time in
back
my
to-
entire 26-year real estate career
So,
ever.
6
Wow.
months prior when they took that, it expired, it didn't relist. So it's this cascading effect where inventory is really low. Something comes on the market or they decide, well, maybe it was just rent. We could probably make more than what our mortgage payment is and just rent it. So it never comes on the market.
Yeah.
Right. So there's a lot of mitigating factors that are happening. We happen to be high, but we have a lot of agents as well, just south Fallbrook Vista, all the way north, right to Corona.
Mhm.
We have a lot of agents that are trying to sell in that saturated type of an area. So 180 it should have been 600, 700. So
That's an interesting concept because I just had that call over the weekend. Exactly what you're talking about.
Okay.
So they actually have all of them. So they just had graduated,
Mhm.
got married, had a baby, bought a new build, and sent me a note saying, Ron, my house is appreciated a lot. Is there a way that I could just take some equity out, rent my house, and buy a new house?
yes.
Right. So,
Right.
and that's a -1,
Right.
right? One house going off the market
Right.
with nothing new coming on. It
Right.
used to be you sell one to buy one,
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
right? So,
And we are taking on right now, averaging about 3 to 4 new rentals every few weeks that we're managing because we have
Okay.
a property management division as well.
And all of those new builds by the tens of thousands that are out there that have stalled, that are slowly not coming on the market. So that just leaves existing for your local market. It's getting tough, but this is precisely why, because Kelly really does a fantastic job for her weekly and her monthly meetings with her agents and her brokers, the people that work directly for her, sharing, look, this is what's coming. This is some of the experience that she's doing at Sarkar is to let other agents know.
what's
look,
a SARCAR?
SRCAR. Right?
He calls it Sarkar. It's
Oh.
not our board of realtors.
Oh, the Board of Realtors. Okay.
It's just the acronym. I just call it Sarkar. Anyways,
Well, yeah, but there's a lot of
No.
folks listening, Sean. They want to know what you're talking about too.
Sarkar.
she just gave it.
Okay.
So agents have to come in, because if
I'm a
that
simple guy.
if that existing market that you have is diminished, if you don't have a lot that's coming on, then you probably are, if you're doing the best job for your customer, you probably are going to have some HUD, some short sales, some foreclosure, something that is a part of that mix of this is all I've got for my customer. So if you're going to say, oh, I don't know how to do HUD, I don't know how to do short sale, you just limited what your customer has the opportunity to buy. She's doing a fantastic job trying to train people. Look, you're going to have to learn these other things to bring it in.
Or worse, they get into escrow on a property and they don't have any clue as to how that transaction is supposed to go.
They can't protect the customer.
They didn't educate their buyer as to the expectations, whether it's a short sale, which there's, so many moving parts of the short sale. I mean, that's just,
Are those easier now than they were back in 2010? Now that there's
no, we just closed one. No, I mean, I would say it took 3 months, not 6.
Okay.
This is good.
a little better, unless you're wanting to move pretty quick.
But when you're timing that, the interest rate, it's like, how do you lock that?
How do you lock that right in?
Yeah.
That becomes pretty challenging, doesn't it?
Yes.
So when we come back, I want to chat with you a little bit about maybe we can find a way to help people find that new house. Are there the new houses available? And maybe we can learn something from this report that you were just talking about. Continue our conversation. We are chatting this morning with Sean and Kelle Malone, chatting about maybe experience will help you find a house that may not otherwise have been available. So I want to throw this because we've talked about this a little bit in the last segment about 5% of the houses being relisted and expired properties. When you're dealing with properties that they've expired, and right now, Kelle, you're made a great point before that people are only doing transactions because of some sort of a catalyst.
Yes.
Right. I use the 6 Ds. Right. Mm-hmm. So diplomas, diamonds, diapers, death, divorce, default kind of fits most of them.
Debt.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Debt. So those people that might have listed their house for that purpose and it expired, that purpose didn't go away.
Right.
Right. Hopefully they still just got married. Right. Unless they went to one of the other Ds, which is called divorce. But the bottom line is if that person default or didn't sell, are agents allowed to go, or is there a process for them to go and look and say, 123 Main Street expired a month ago, and I've got a buyer that might fit. Can you call them?
Yes.
Of course.
Oh, yes.
Okay, absolutely. So it's not against the rules for that.
It's absolutely okay to make contact with an expired listing. Yes.
Do agents understand that, or is that do they come into the business knowing that, or is it something that has to be taught?
It's something that has to be taught. Yeah.
So it goes back to the same thing that, unfortunately, the barrier to entry in real estate is so low.
Yes.
That you have to have a good mentor, and you're talking about that, having all the trainings that you're doing.
The training, yes, and it's important to understand if you want to, you work at a brokerage, so you have people that can teach you how to work at expired listings, because there is a process, and working around the do not call list, that's really important. But there's the thing is,
do people really pay attention to that thing?
More and more, yes, more and more. The threat is there more and more. But if we're talking about 2 years ago, the properties that relisted on the market, and you have like 80% of the properties relisted if they actually didn't sell. Right.
Okay.
And so if they didn't sell, they would go back on either with the same agent or with another agent. And, the difference, maybe the 20% difference, they would decide they're either going to keep their house, not move at the time, or they're going to rent it out. So now that 5%, only 5% of the properties on the market decide they're going to relist. That's a significant number. So that is telling you that people, if they have to sell, they're going to sell. If they don't, they are choosing typically to rent their house out, to lease it out. And we are experiencing that with our property management business.
So it's not that they're just taking it off the market and doing nothing.
Right.
They're taking it off the market and they're going to rent it or they found some other solution, or they're going to stay.
Yes.
Yeah. We talked about this a couple times back. What is your purpose? So when you're talking with your customer, what's your plan? Are you going to put your kids here in the local school? Are you going to be here for 10 years? So then there's no FOMO. You don't have to worry about that, because you're not going to miss out. You're probably going to get the best possible deal, whatever time that is, at the best possible rate, whatever time that is, because you're going to stay. if you were a part of, I'm going to flip it, I'm going to just change out the kitchen and blah, 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 I'm going to make 10,000. No, that cream is gone. So when we're talking about the death, the diapers, that type of thing, now it was always there.
Sure.
It just wasn't at the
wasn't
height
the only
right?
thing that was
So,
there.
yeah. So there was
Right.
500 homes, and then the expires just were relisted. I didn't get what I wanted, and my buddy across the street, in that time frame that you didn't sell my house, sold it for 40,000. I want 50,000 more. That's over.
Okay.
So the reality of what was really the real estate market that's always been there is consistent.
But also the houses that are on the market, they're selling. There's enough buyers sucking up the listing inventory over time, because where we're looking at 90 days on the market, average days on market 95.
Yeah.
So it's just enough, right?
Sure.
And every single month it's hovering in our zip code 92592. 67 to 71 inventory, 66, 65, 72, month after month after month. So it's not
when
going
the
up
days
to
are staying
100.
the same and the number of properties are staying the same, that means something's selling.
Exactly. So last year in August, when there was 224 homes for sale in 92592 zip code, you had, the market times, everything changed. Inventory was there. The prices were dropping. People were competitive with one another. Now you have a smaller inventory. They're not dropping the prices too much. 30 some percent, I think, we're dropping the prices. So overall, not significant, because they're selling.
Sure.
Right. So there's not even necessarily a need to relist at that point. So there's a lot of factors, a lot of things taking place.
Well, some of the numbers you look at, and I know just by looking at numbers, and I'm not a real estate agent. I have a license. I'm not qualified. I'm qualified to have a license, but just not to do use it. But you look at certain properties and you say, okay, in 92807, which I look at a lot, average days on the market is 103, and there's 17 properties. So for somebody like me that's just a numbers guy, it says maybe those are properties that people don't want to sell, right? Because it never goes below 17. It'll go up to 21, but you look at how many days it's on the market. Maybe those people just didn't want to sell anything.
No, it's really that is the equilibrium I'm talking about.
Okay.
There's just enough buyers sucking up just enough inventory on a continuum. So I have buyers right now, and we are shopping in Rancho Cucamonga, Laverne,
Chino.
Montclair, Chino, and we go see a property, it's gone the next day. We go see a property, it's gone the next day. And, but they're out there and they're shopping. They have a credit union and they've got like a 6% interest rate. And I mean,
they're qualified.
Their payment's going to be fat. But they don't want to.
We don't talk about fat on this show, Kelly. I mean, come on.
Sorry, back to short sale.
They don't want to rent anymore because their rent is practically what their payment is at this point.
Right.
So we're out shopping on a daily, and it's not like how we can sit and look at a house and it's been on the market 100+ days. It's on the market 18, maybe 30 days at the most that before it goes into escrow. So yeah, it's a we're in an equilibrium. I'm just going to say that we have just enough buyers.
So is that what we would call a normal market then? It's not a buyer's market, not a seller's market, being that
all the analytics are going to say it's a seller's market because the prices are not coming down. The prices are stabilizing. They're going up. So they're going to say it's a seller's market because there's still equity, right? We're not on a downward spiral or crash like everybody was anticipating.
Okay.
Yeah. So I would say
there's also the buyer's side of it, that all the cash, the people that are buying cash and they're not going through a mortgage lender, right? So there's the buyers. The buyer has the power as well.
Yeah, there are buyers that are sitting on cash that were rented for a year or two, and they sat on their cash and waited. And so now now they can buy. They're buying with, I don't know that that benefited them anyway because the prices didn't fall.
We told it's almost a year to the date now because we're in April. We told people a year ago, you should probably sell your place and pay of all this equity and this cash that you got, pay rent for a year and buy. And they're coming back. They're coming back because they sat in the cash. They got the cash and the things went down. So
I'll throw a couple of things out there from our friends at
not in PB, and not in where's your dad live, Aliso either.
Oh yeah. Aliso got crushed.
So I'm gonna throw a couple things out there just to if I can figure out how to get these noises to stop in my head. They always.
They're not just in your head. I'm hearing them too.
You're hearing them too? Okay, so.
And there's some lady yelling earlier.
And,
What's
and Jack,
going on?
And Jack Nicholson is not here, so just throw that out there. So let me throw you a couple things I want to share with you based on trying to solve problems, right? So a couple of things that Kelle laid out here is you gotta be aggressive in buying the property, right? Because they're selling. If you look at it today and it's gone tomorrow, how do you get an advantage? So what are a couple of advantages that you can get just by listening to Ron Singer Radio? Number one, maybe you want to bid more than the property value, right? That's an opportunity. Now, I'm not going to, I could tell you how long it'll come based on analytics, how long it'll take you to get back to the right values, but maybe you just want to live there. And Sean talked earlier about this concept that what's your plan? So if you pay $25,000, $50,000, $75,000 above value today, no guarantees, but 10 years from now, you're going to be happy that you did that. That's the first part of it. Now you say, okay, Ron, well, but these interest rates, well, they're going to start coming down if history repeats itself, which it usually does. They're going to start coming down on the 10th of May. Okay, by the end of summer, my forecast, we're going to be somewhere in the mid fives. But what if you want that now? Maybe you want to be in the fours today. Well, we've got a solution for that. We've got our payment assistance program, which helps you pay more than the list price. And then, oh yeah, if it doesn't appraise, we've got an appraisal gap to cover that problem too. So pay above value so you get the house you want with a payment that's based on yesterday's interest rates. What do you think? All you have to do is call us at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The other thing I'm going to share with you, very, very important. You have to work with a real estate professional that understands these processes. If they are not done the right way, they will blow up.
Yeah.
Promise you. So there are tricks and not tricks, strategies, I guess is the best term, that professional and experienced agents understand and use that maybe your best friend's dog walker's uncle's cousin who did one transaction in 2001 doesn't know how to do. Just throwing that out there. If you want to meet those people, if you want to meet Sean and Kelle Malone, give me a call, 800-306-1990.